Welcome to Headbangers Australia with Painting in Chaos. I've got Mike here, one of the artists. He's done so many bands, Flaming Wrekage, Razor. He's done all Carbon Black's albums. Because they told us that the last time we did a Painting in Chaos.
I watched the video, buddy. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting, it was like a Carbon Black road show,
Yeah, Rob's like me, he likes to talk.
Well, you haven't seen me talk yet. Mate, well, great to have you on board, mate. We get to talk about the behind the art.
Absolutely.
What I love, when I get an album, I haven't heard the songs yet. So very old school. I look at the album cover. I go, okay, and then I press play, and then I get the booklet out, and then I just go in and just go read the lyrics, and then I start to realize what the lyrics, what that band's trying to achieve, and that puts me into that world and transforms me in that world. And when I get that artwork kind of right, and I feel I'm transported into that world of what the band's trying to create, it gives me that's their world. And basically, your job being an artist, when a band's coming up to you and asking that, this is what your ideas or some might need some inspiration. There's a lot of process behind that. So what's the process with this album by Flaming Wrekage?
Cathedral of Bones. Cathedral of Bones. Great record. Love this record. Yeah. This is a funny one actually though, because Dave actually came to me they had about 50% of the art in the bag. The album was all done, but they had commissioned an artist from overseas, and they'd given him a brief, and he'd come back with some rough drafts, but kind of fallen off the map. Look, this happens, people have personal lives, and I'm not disparaging the other artist at all, but Dave kind of got left in the lurch a little bit, and so he came to me. I can't remember, I think he might have been referred to me by perhaps a couple of members of T-Rex Autopsy might have sent him my way. And anyway, so he came and showed me the art that he had so far and said, we really want to complete it. And so that was essentially our introduction to the project. Timing was still okay, we had some time. And really, what Dave brought me though is not really the kind of art that I do. Because the artist they commissioned was a painter. And he had done this, beautiful but embryonic version of the painting, very much in a style of what you might have seen on, Arise by Sepultura, that sort of scene, that sort of painting. Now, I'm not a painter, I'm not an illustrator. I work in a digital space with photographic sources, and so my reply to Dave was, well, if you need a painter, I can't really help you, but if you want me to make something like this in my style, I'm on board. Love it, because it was a great concept. And he was okay with that, and we were off.
Yeah, the one thing what catches me about that artwork is if you're looking for detail, like because of what the title is, if you look closely to the main center, which is the cathedral, you see all the bones on all the heads, and then you obviously the one that's in the center, that's the focus point, and then you've got the guards there. And then, basically, as I said, I like to open it. But the one thing I like about the covers, the cardboard ones, if you were to hold it like that, you get to see the whole frame, and then it's like, okay, cool. That kind of gives you that kind of aura.
Designing art for a wraparound is basically it's one of the key approaches you generally take when you're doing artwork for a book. Sometimes for a game, for a film, and for an album. I pretty much always design in a landscape space that allows for the whole wraparound cover, and then I just block off and mask off the front cover. You work on that first, and then work out from there. But I always plan to be able to have that artwork across to the left for a wraparound cover. I mean, I would have loved it if this was in a gatefold vinyl pressing. I was really kind of gunning for that, nudging Dave a little bit because I think it would have looked beautiful. But at the time, it wasn't on the release slate. So I know they've done vinyl of one of their albums since. Looks fantastic. So, but yeah, that extra art off to the sides is, I think I said in one of the previous videos when we were talking about it.
Yeah.
That's one of the things about doing artwork for this kind of purpose. It's still, it's a commercial piece of art. It's art to dress up someone else's art.
Yeah.
And so you kind of build it to fit that purpose of being on the cover. Now, Dave had the story really already. The idea, I think, was of a post-apocalyptic kind of world where essentially this cults were gathering up the remains of humanity and building this cathedral. I'm not sure whether it was in worship or whether it was a sort of a nihilistic FU to the universe in this post-apocalyptic scene. But generally, he wanted these kind of monks that were going out into this wasteland, gathering up bones and bringing them back. Yeah. And so, I sort of brilliant scene, really cool. And so my execution of it is pretty close to what he envisaged, I think. Yeah. But involves imagery from a lot of different sources that I pulled together to create this particular scene, this particular cathedral, and this cult of bones.
Yeah, because from a fan perspective, when you see that and then we go into the lyrics, I think that the execution and that, for me as a fan, that smashed it, man. And basically, I think that even the CD cover, you got bones, it's there's a lot of bones and stuff, and you're like, just listening to it, and then the whole album. The album's a great album as well to listen. But I think that the music, what they've made, and how they recorded, and we don't really talk about the recording process from a band perspective on this series, but what they've recorded in that album, and I think that the artwork from your work, I think that it really tied in really well.
And in the theme, you only have to look at the opening shots of Terminator from 1984. Those skulls on the ground. It's just it's quite an evocative image of a of the future that we don't really want. Yeah. Right? Is that epic scale of death. And so I know that's what they wanted to show here. But I think one of the funniest things here is some of the source here. Yeah. Is lots of different photographs of animal and human skeletons. Yeah. Lots of different photographs of exhumed skulls, skulls from collections. Yeah. But some of the pillars in the front of the cathedral here are actually from photos from the Capital de Ossos, the Chapel of Bones. I believe it's in Portugal. Yeah. And, it's an underground chapel. Yeah. With as you know, a lot of traditional Catholic churches in Europe have a lot of relics of bones of saints and whatnot, but a lot of these other chapels have bones of parishioners, people that are people who come and worship at the church, And so this great chapel, it has these columns made up of skulls, and obviously they're not quite to the scale of this cathedral. So obviously I've taken some of these columns of skulls, put them all out, and made larger features to give you a somewhat epic scope of the cathedral. But a lot of the skulls you see in here are actually photos of skulls from the Capital de Ossos.
Okay, that's very interesting that you mentioned it. That's a good insight. Mate, I just want to thanks for the insight for Flaming Wrekage. Was that Carnival of Bones?
Not Carnival of Bones, Cathedral of Bones.
Cathedral of Bones. We'll edit that out, bro. But Cathedral of Bones, it's a great album by Flaming Wrekage. We want to thank Unreil Studios as well for filming here as well. Just mentioned Headbangers Australia. And there's a 10% discount through Unreil Studios. Until then, we'll see you guys at the next video.